All right.
All right, welcome to another episode of the J Youngblood Experience. Today I have with me Phillip Jacobs. Welcome on, brother.
What's up, man?
So just tell the people who don't know you, obviously I know you, tell a little bit about yourself and what you do.
I own and tattoo at Allegiance Ink Tattoo. I've been in Augusta for lived here my whole life, man. So that's what I do. That's all I do.
And so how old were you when you first started on to tattooing?
Oh man, that story goes back. So I got my first tattoo at 16. I was hanging out in tattoo shops. Every one of my friends was a tattoo artist. Like that's just I built cars and hung out with tattoo artists. Like that's what I did for years. And it was kind of a thing that I went to my parents and we talked about it, and my parents were completely against me being a tattoo artist,
Yeah.
and they wanted me to go to college, so I did that. Yeah, I lived up to my end. Like they promised me if I would go and get a degree, they would support me 110% in whatever I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I went and got a degree, and they support me 110% in anything I want to do. So,
So what made you get your first tattoo and what was it?
man, I've been infatuated with tattoos since I was a child. Like,
Yeah.
well, I could go with the whole like, oh, my granddad had one, blah 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 blah. I don't know, man. I don't know. And then as I've gotten older in life, like I've started really like looking back at why I got tattooed, and I'll be honest, a lot of my reasoning that I think I got tattooed has changed over the years.
Yeah.
Um, I love tattooing. I loved like the more fringe of society. Now it's a lot more mainstream than
Yeah.
used to be. Um, but also like I lost my arm when I was 13.
Yeah.
So like me getting tattooed at a younger age and heavily tattooed as I got older, I tell people this all the time. I don't know if I was doing it for like more so like I don't know if people are staring at me because I got one arm or if they're staring at me because I'm covered in tattoos.
Yeah.
And so it was almost like a defense mechanism for me.
I understand that completely. Yeah. So why do you think that is? Why is there such a stigma around tattoos? Because, like you said, nowadays people just get it for fun. You can see it on Pinterest
Yeah.
everywhere. But back in the day, it was actually meant something. Why do you think there's such a stigma behind it?
It, you know, we're in the South. A lot of it's based on religion. Like a lot
Hmm.
of the not liking it's based on religion.
Yeah.
And to each their own. I'm not gonna preach to anybody about it, like whether they're right or wrong. So I think a lot of it comes from that. I think a lot of it comes from at one time it was the fringe of society that was getting tattooed.
Yeah.
It was the military. It was the bikers. It was the. I mean, go back to the early '90s, late '80s, and you know there wasn't. It was more the dudes and the females living by their own rules versus like following you know everything. And nowadays, man, I've tattooed every walk of life you can imagine, from
Yeah.
doctors to lawyers to grandmas to soccer moms to you know to still tattooing bikers, still tattooing, you name it, across the board. I've tattooed
Everybody.
literally everybody. Kids on their
Eh,
18th birthday. I mean, my oldest just turned 18, what, 2 weeks ago, and I tattooed him. That's what like he wanted for his 18th birthday, was to come get tattooed. So,
that's dope. How was that feeling? Being able to
um,
tattoo your son?
man, it's a good feeling, and it's a I'm old as hell feeling too. Like,
I got you.
you know what I'm saying? Like I'm sitting here
Yeah.
as I'm tattooing him, I'm having to register in my head that like this was the same kid that 18 years ago I brought home from a hospital. So it's like,
Yeah.
where did 18
Kind
years go? Like,
kind of bittersweet almost.
and he's the one that's been there through it all. Like he was there, like he was at my college graduation. He was there when I opened the shop. He's literally been through it all with me. So it's
Yeah.
like for him, for me, it was like, man, where did my 18 years go? Like,
Yeah.
because it flew by. And
Yeah.
I jokingly said it to a buddy of mine who I've known since I was a kid, and I said, man, where'd 18 years ago? And he said, you blinked. And I said, yep, I did.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
legitimately, that's the way it feels. Like even thinking about the shop, man, the shop's been there. will be 14 years this year, and it's like, where do it feels like I just opened that place, yesterday. Like,
Yeah.
so I don't know, man. It's scary. It's fun. It felt good though. Like, I was glad that he wanted to get tattooed.
What did he end up getting?
He got a peach with 706.
Dope.
So,
Dope. What was the location at it?
right below his elbow on what his right arm, I think.
I got you.
So,
Well, at
and I
least it seems like you're having fun. It seems
oh,
like
listen, man.
if it wasn't fun for you, it wouldn't seem like a blink of an eye. So obviously you enjoy what you're doing.
I Here's the thing. I preach to people all the time the same exact thing. You can ask any of my guys, they know it. You can ask my wife, they know it. She knows it. Like, everybody knows it, and I don't hide it. I love tattooing. I absolutely love tattooing. I'm a terrible boss because I'm a friend. I
Yeah, I
don't like
understand.
running. I'm terrible at running a business. So yeah, man, I love tattooing. I wish I was better at being a boss, but I work with friends all day long, so I can't. I
Yeah,
mean, it's a weird line to walk, and sometimes I'm terrible at it.
yeah.
So
What would you think your kind of style is? What would be your like the whenever you were if you're gonna pick a style of tattoo, what would be your tattoo you would pick?
I tattoo.
Everything.
I won't do realism. Anything else, I'll
Yeah.
tattoo.
Okay. You don't have a favorite?
I tattoo. Like,
I got
I
you.
say
I
that a lot,
understand.
man. Like, there, so that idea of like specializing in
Hmm.
one thing, it's a lot newer of an idea. Yeah, I love doing anything that's like cartoony. I love doing anything that's like, American traditional. I love doing. There's certain black work I enjoy doing, but I do watercolor. I do some that look like um glitter. I do all these things that I love to do, but the reality is I love to tattoo.
Yeah,
Um, as stupid as I still love taking walk-ins. I love not knowing what I'm going to have every day.
absolutely.
I book appointments, every day for myself, but I also always have enough time that, like, if something walks in the door, I'm going to go tattoo it
Yeah, for
because
sure.
that's the way when I got into tattooing years and years and years ago, early 2000s, late 90s. That's what shops were, man. They were walk-in shops, and like,
Yeah,
there's something magic about tattooing that when you put yourself in a corner and say, I only do this, that magic disappears. Like,
yeah,
and I couldn't see myself. For some people, it might work great, but for myself, it would never. I couldn't do it.
yeah. You just love tattooing. I get it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah. I'm looking through some of your Instagram and some of the watercolors you did are pretty freaking dope. I'm not gonna lie to you, brother.
yeah. I love doing them. So,
How uh how difficult is that whenever you're doing the watercolors, or is that kind of like a free mind thing? Because I'm looking
so,
at this one with the paw print, and you have it not only in the paw print, but it's outside the paw print, like kind of abstract. How hard
so
is that for
for
you to do?
so for me, it's real easy. But
Yeah,
then, like, you ask somebody that doesn't. It's just the way I think. Like, there's other like my wife who tattoos. It bothers her. Like, she's like, I don't get it. I don't understand it. Like, I can do it if I have to. But for me, it's like, yeah, I'll do that. Like, because it comes easy for me.
yeah,
So yeah, I think it's just the way I don't know. I think it's the way you work. Like, it's some of the stuff she does. I'm looking at it going, yep, nope, don't want to mess with it. Don't want to do it. Like, I'll do it if I got to, but it's
yeah,
not something that, like, I'm pumped on. Like, I'm not like, yeah, let's go do this. I'm like, okay, I can do it, but I'm way more apt to be like, babe, come here, you're gonna do this tattoo. Like,
yeah. So
so
tell
mhm.
me this: when you first started tattooing, were you a natural? Were you naturally good at it, or is it something you had to build on each
No,
time you did a tattoo?
I think to this day, every tattoo I do, I try to do better than the last one.
Hmm.
Um, I, I don't know if that'll ever go away, and it would scare the shit out of me if it did. Honestly,
Yeah,
I don't want it to. Um, but I think there is definitely a either you have it or you don't in tattooing. Like, I think there's a very clear. and what gives it to somebody and what makes it doable for some people and not for others. I wish I could give you the exact answer, but I don't know it. But I can 100%, 110% say that there is something that either you have or you don't have. And if you have it, you can tattoo. And if you don't have it, I don't care. You might be able to tattoo and you might spend, 4, 5, 6 years learning to tattoo or whatever, but you're never going to get to a level where you want to be.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
what that is, I'll never know. Like I can watch people that should not be where they're at just doing stuff that is bo- I'm just like I don't understand. Like I'm like, what are you doing? Like how at tattooing for the number of years you have are you doing stuff like that?
Yeah.
And they do. And then I watch people that have been tattooing, 20, 30 years, and I'm like, why are you not further than where you're at?
Yeah.
So, and I mean, that's the reality. And I think that a lot of these guys, I'll be honest with you, a lot of the dudes that like the older guys, like you can tell, man, like you can talk to them, and some of them get burnt out, and you can see where their career is like at, and it's going to kind of stay there because they're
Yeah.
burnt out. They're over it. Um, but then there's some of them that like, dude, like 50 years into the game, and they're still like living, like living and loving everything about tattooing still.
Yeah.
And so that's where I want to be. I want to be, I, I get it. I'll be tattooing until the day they put me in the ground, but I love it. So it's not
Yeah.
that big of a deal for me.
And a lot of people don't find that whenever they're looking for like something they want to do, they don't find something they love. You
Oh,
know what
for
I
sure.
mean? So the fact that you say that proves that anybody who's listening, like, this guy loves his job. Like, when you go in there, he's going to be passionate about it.
Oh, yeah.
And also, if you see a tattoo and they're saying, "Oh, I want this like this," you can be like, maybe you should do it like this because you know the textures of skin, you know, like
Yeah.
how things heal and stuff like that.
And we're pretty, and as a shop, I feel like we're pretty good about, I mean, we're really good because I kind of preach it. But if there's somebody else in that shop that's going to do the tattooing and they're going to do it better, I'm going to literally look that person dead in the face and be like, hey, like, I know you came in here to talk to me, but, you know, whether whoever in the shop, like, be it my wife, be it Joey, be it any of the other guys, I'm going to be like, hey, this is who you need to talk to. Like,
Yeah.
because I want that person to walk out with the best tattoo that they can get.
See, I would
Um,
be scared to death to give somebody a tattoo because I would be
uh,
scared at the end of the day it would look like shit, and I'd be like, "Damn!" Like I sent this person off with a terrible tattoo.
yeah, and I think as an artist, like you go through that. Like
Yeah,
to this day, I'll look at tattoos and I'll get home and take a picture of them. Like after I get done, and I'll look at it and I'll be like, I'll be mad. Like I'll lose sleep over it. Like trying to figure out why I did something that like I don't like. You know, 4, 5, 6, 8 hours down the road.
yeah,
Well, it's just that I do that because I love tattooing. Like
yeah,
if I didn't, I wouldn't care. If I
yeah.
didn't, I would do it and be done and see you later.
No,
But
I've met a lot of tattoo artists, not only here in Augusta, but I've got a couple of tattoos out of state, and it's just like, okay, give me the money, I'll do it. And it's like, there's no passion in it. You can tell
yeah,
whenever they're doing the tattoo.
and I mean, and look, and don't get it twisted, man. Everybody's got bad days. I'm sure there are days where people look at me and they're like, "This dude's an asshole." But you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
and in the back of my head, I'm going, I got 6 kids at the house. I got, we got 6 kids. We got, 13
six
things going on.
kids.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ, brother, you've been active.
we got from 18 to 2.5.
Jesus, man, damn. I mean, I
So
can't talk. My parents had 12 kids, so I can't
yeah,
compare. But I
yeah.
could never imagine having six, bro. Wow.
6 kids run run that shop, and then we have the other shop. So
Damn.
no, we cannot have 12 kids. My wife heard you say 12, and she said, "Can we have 12 kids?" And I said, "No."
No, absolutely not. You can't survive. I don't know how my parents did it whenever
uh,
they had that many kids. God bless them. Not only my mother, but my father. but that's 6 kids, man. Especially today, that's dope.
Yeah, man, they keep us. If we're listen, I think people, a lot of kids, like they'll come in and ask about apprenticeships and stuff like that, and it's always funny to me because I literally look at them. I'm like, bro, it's not the life you think it is. Like, I literally work 12 hours a day, come home, draw for 3 or 4 hours, see the kids. Like the kids are running everywhere. Like we got to be at a school one day, we got to go here the next day, and it's like we stay pretty busy. Like
I can imagine.
between the kids and work, it's nonstop.
I can imagine. So tell me this: growing up, were you an artistic kid? Is that something that helped you growing into the tattoo business?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. Like, I wasn't the kid that like went to like every art class. I didn't, you know, but I was the kid that drew on everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was the kid that wanted to tag everything and probably got in trouble for spray painting stuff and stuff like that. But I wasn't the kid that like went in every art class. I wasn't the kid. I would literally from day one. There hasn't been like an. It hasn't been like, oh, I want to go paint. I want to go. You know, I since day one, it's I want to go tattoo. Like there was never. It was tattooing all the way. So
And I know you said so. The inspiration you saw people getting tattoos. I have kind of the same thing. I remember my brother Brad getting his back tattoo. I remember my brother Daryl getting his arm tattoo. Laugh now, cry later. And that kind of, as soon as I turned 18, I was like, I have to get a tattoo.
yep.
And I chose the worst spot. I chose my ribs, and it was so my grandma wrote me a letter for my birthday. I think it was a year before she passed, so I got that right on my ribs, and it was the worst. I mean, I love the tattoo now, but I had to stop in between because it's literally lettering. I
Yeah.
was like, "Hey, I'm sweating my ass off. Can I get up and walk it out for a minute?"
Yep.
Have you
Like
ever had a customer come in, get down, and they're like, "Oh, this pain is ever quit or like take a couple 30 minutes just to relax?"
literally about an hour before you were there Saturday, I had it happen.
Really?
Yeah, this kid comes in, 18. He turned 18 like a couple weeks ago. Like I
Oh,
think
the tall kid?
no, 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 no. That kid gets tattooed all the time.
Yeah.
This was another kid I tattooed. I literally posted that rose on his forearm,
Yeah.
and he just built himself up. Man, he wasn't even in pain. He was like all like super hyped up, and about I don't know 10 minutes into the tattoo, he turned white as a ghost and was like, "I'm gonna pass out." And I was like, "Oh man!" And he passed out, like cold, passed out. Woke him up, and kind of let him chill out. Probably spent 30 minutes waiting on him to chill out, and it happens. Like
Yeah.
it oh, most of what it is A, people don't eat before they come to get tattooed, so their blood sugar drops.
Yeah.
B, they've built themselves up so much that it's like all that adrenaline just drops into their stomach and literally knocks them out cold.
Does that
So,
happen often for you? Or how often
uh,
does that happen, you think?
I don't. As a shop, we probably have it happen once a week,
Okay.
maybe once a week, if not less.
Yeah. So
I can't remember the last time it happened. I'm trying to think of the last time before Saturday that happened. I can't remember it.
so tell me this. A lot of people always ask me because I have a ton of tattoos. Where the worst spot to get a tattoo is. Obviously, I don't have my legs done. I don't have my face done or my skull. What do you think the worst spot for pain is?
I I will tell you what I tell everybody. I give everybody the same answer. For most people, it's going to be your ribs. It's going to be the tops of your feet. Um, sides of the neck are terrible. The head isn't bad. It's bad 2 days afterwards.
Oh, bruising up and whatnot.
It swells and you get a gnarly
Yeah.
headache and stuff like that. The face doesn't hurt. Like it doesn't. The My worst tattoo was the end of my left arm.
End of
So
your so like right here.
no, you know where like right here.
Okay. Right there was the
So
worst part.
oh, absolutely, yeah, 110%.
For me, it was my top of my sternum. So my sternum and then my collarbones up here were
Yeah,
absolute shit.
yeah, a
Worse than
lot
my ribs, in my opinion.
shooting pain, a lot of cutting pain. Almost, it
Yeah.
feels almost like yeah. So I mean, and But everywhere feels different. Like I tell people all the time, they'll ask me like, "Oh, what does the ankle feel like?" And the ankle burns more than like the arm.
Yeah,
So it's like it's two completely different feelings.
yeah,
So you hear everybody say different spots hurt worse than others. Most people you hear complain most about the ribs and the tops of the feet. Tops
yeah,
of the feet, I don't even think are that painful. I think what bothers people is like a couple of days afterwards.
yeah.
They swell up and it bothers people. I think that's
For
more what.
For me, it's not the day of. It's not when I'm getting the tattoo. Maybe on my sternum, my ribs, but it's a couple days after it starts to bruise up. Mine turns like a little bit purple around it,
Yep,
and then I'll
mhm,
get a little agitated there. But like during the tattoo, a lot of people, whenever I got my back tattoo, were like, "Oh, your spine's gonna hurt. Your spine's gonna." I was like, "It wasn't." All I felt was literally the tattoo like vibrating literally on
yep,
my back. Literally all I felt when Kenneth was doing my back tattoo. And I was like, this is not as bad as I expected because I was expecting it to hurt like my ribs did. And then
no.
of course, I went ahead and got my left side done too. So, but yeah, the ribs and the sternum for me, I haven't got the tops of my, feet done yet, or I only have
And
one on my leg right now. But
and the weird thing is like the back, like as you get lower and get over your vital organs, it tends to hurt more. Like for me, that like my whole back's done. It was way worse over like the lower outer sides of your back were way worse than my backbone and everything
yeah,
like
right
that.
above your hip, right above your
Yep,
hip.
yep.
Yeah.
Well, almost
And
like
it's also,
it's almost like getting punched in the kidneys.
yeah,
Yep.
exactly. And and it also differs on the person because I've
Yeah,
seen
for
some
sure.
people go in there and they don't literally don't feel
Yep.
anything. They're like, this doesn't hurt at all. And then you'll get somebody in there and their pain tolerance is zero, and they'll get in there and
Oh
they'll be
yeah.
crying the whole time.
Yeah. Listen, like you see it across the board. Like what was it? Last Tuesday. Where was I tattooing that? Oh, outer arm, which is a pretty easy tattoo.
hmm
Lady was losing it, cussing, and everybody in the shop's like, "Oh, Philip's about to lose his mind. Philip's about to lose his mind." It doesn't bother me.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna sit there. Like I'm
yeah,
still gonna tattoo you. You can cuss me out. You can call me any name you want. I've probably been called it 100 times before. I don't care.
yeah,
I'm gonna tattoo like I'm as long as you're cool. And she's literally like cussing, calling me stuff, and I'm like, and then she'll turn around, look at me, and be like, "No, no, I don't mean it. I'm sorry. You're good. I know you have to tattoo." And I'm like, "Bro, you got nothing to apologize to me about. I'm not stopping. Like as long as you're good and you're not like." And she was like, "No, no, I'm good." So you know. It definitely depends on each person. Like
yeah,
I get. Listen, the crazy part is like you see an older person come in, and 99.9% of the time, like I'm talking about when I say older, I'm talking about like 65, 70, 75. They're gonna sit there like it's nothing.
yeah,
But it's always the younger like people that they're the worst. They have the worst pain. The older people, the older the like I don't know, because the 30s and 40s are pretty rough too. So
I heard whenever you turn 30 and 40, that's when the pain hurts. That's when you start
yeah,
feeling pain.
110%. I hate getting tattooed nowadays. I don't even like getting tattooed nowadays.
So tell me this: have you ever tattooed yourself?
Yeah, years ago,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Nowadays, I don't have to do that stuff. My wife tattoos. Why am I going to tattoo
Yeah,
myself?
exactly. Whenever you were doing that, how hard was it to continue? Because obviously, whenever someone else is tattooing you, it's
No,
different because
it's easy
it's
doing it
easy.
yourself. Like
Really?
your head's concentrating on the tattoo.
Yeah.
The pain's non-existent.
Really
Yeah, you're making sure you're not messing up a tattoo.
interesting.
So it's almost like you've removed yourself from the pain factor because you're so concentrated on the tattoo.
Yeah. So I was talking to Kenneth on another podcast. He said it sucks because you can stop at any time, but the person that's doing the
Oh yeah.
tattoo, doing whoever's doing the tattoo, whenever you're doing this with somebody else, they're going to keep going. So you don't have a choice. You're going to keep going. But he said whenever he's doing his own tattoo, it's not as fun because then you're inflicting pain on yourself and you're seeing that happen in
Yeah,
in real time.
you can't think about it that way. Like if you think you can stop, then you're gonna stop.
Yeah. No, I could literally. I'm telling you,
Listen,
I
that's
appreciate tattoo artists because I could. Not, I'm telling you, I could not do it. Not only
that's
am I
the
not artistic, but I would be afraid. I would do a shitty tattoo, and then somebody cusses me out, or I don't want to have that on my conscience, but obviously you're good at what you do.
Yeah, I think more so like I don't know, man. I struggle. I think most tattoo artists I know that truly care about what they do, they're their own worst enemies. They're their own worst critics. We
Yeah,
analyze ourselves more than anybody ever could analyze what we do. We destroy ourselves. Like we'll over critique our own tattoos. Like
yeah,
so, it's like if you can control that, then the rest is pretty easy, man. Like as far as like as long as you're doing solid tattoos and you can control your own head, like not beating yourself up too bad, then you're gonna be fine.
yeah.
Like, but I mean, like I said, it's definitely not for everybody. There's no way.
So tell me this: with Pinterest being out there, with Google being out there, how much is it a struggle to let people know, like, hey, yeah, this may be a tattoo right here, but it's not going to look like that whenever it heals up. Because a lot of those I heard are photoshopped and
Yeah,
edited to where it looks perfect.
for
How
sure.
hard is that to explain to the customer, like, hey, this is going to heal a lot different than what you're seeing here on Pinterest or Google or Facebook?
So a lot of times, like even in our shop, like when you walk in on the front counter,
I
we have
saw that.
we have
I
some
saw that.
laminated
Yeah,
stuff. And it's just to kind of say, hey, listen, like we're telling you this stuff because this is what it'll look like down the road. Um, but we do that a lot. Like at least once a day, I have to sit down and like explain to somebody, hey, man, like I get it. Like you want this tattoo done this style, like, but in 10, 15 years, or in depending on what it is, in a year, or in 5 years, or 6 months, it's not going to look that way. And I've found over the years, if you just shoot it to them straight, a lot of them like they'll grasp it. Like they're like, oh,
yeah,
okay, it makes sense. Um, it's when you start like bullshitting them, that's when they're like, yeah, whatever. But if I just tell them, hey, listen, this won't look this way because of X, Y, and Z, they're like, okay, cool. Like he knows what he's talking about. I'm gonna go with what this dude's saying. Like,
absolutely.
and 9 out of 10 of them appreciate it at the end of the day.
Yeah, for sure. When I got my first tattoo, this one on my ribs, I was like, I looked at it, whenever it first gets done, it's
Yeah.
black as can be, right?
Yep.
But then after a couple weeks, you're gonna notice, maybe not a couple weeks, maybe like a couple months, you'll notice it's gonna be more of it's gonna check with your skin,
Correct.
basically.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's gonna check with your skin. It's not gonna be as black as it was. And then
Yeah.
once I realized that, I was like, that's cool. It's fine. I don't have to. It's not something I should worry about. You know what I mean?
I mean, you got to remember, you're looking at that ink through layers of skin. Like,
Yeah,
so in any pigmentation in the skin is gonna reflect like in colors like that were super bright when they went in. You're seeing them fresh on top of the skin. All of a sudden, now they got a few layers of skin over them, and they take a darker tone, and that's just the reality. That's tattooing.
absolutely. Yeah,
And most people know that. You get some people that are like, hey, why did this dull out, or why did this? And sometimes it's a situation where it's like, yeah, I need to go touch that up. Let me get it.
yeah,
Let me get it touched up. It'll get a little bit brighter for you. Sometimes it's a situation where you look at the person and say, hey, like that's just your skin tone kind of overpowering the colors. And
yeah,
a lot of times when somebody has a darker skin tone or has a lot of pigmentation in their skin, we have to talk to them about like using yellows and certain colors, because those colors are a lot harder to get to show up and be bright 5, 10, 15 years down the road.
absolutely. So tell me this: how many people do you have coming in? MGK did this a while back. He just got
The
all blacked
blackout,
out. The blackout. How hard is that tattoo, and how often do y'all have people coming in doing it?
technically, how hard is it? It's not hard. Like if you can pack color, you can
Yeah,
tattoo it.
I guess my real question is, because obviously I don't know tattoos, so I'm trying to learn a little bit more. I mean, I know tattoos, but not as well as you would as someone who's been doing it
Yeah,
so
yeah.
long. With that, do you ever have someone coming in and being like, having to touch it up afterward?
Oh,
I
sure.
guess is my main
Um,
question.
I mean, I have a kid right now that I about half his arms done.
Yeah,
Single pass. Um, are there spots that I'm gonna go back and hit again? Yeah, there's a few. Not nothing crazy. It's just a couple of spots that mainly on his hand, and I'm gonna go in and hit some spots on it and touch them up, and it'll be spec solid. But
yeah,
it'll take me 10 minutes maybe. But we don't get a lot of them right now. Um, will that change? I don't know.
probably. It's a big
There's
trend right
trends.
now. Is what
Yep.
I'm seeing. Yeah,
And tattoos are trends, man. That's the reality. Like you see a trend in tattooing, and I have a feeling we're gonna see more of it, but I don't know that for sure. I
yeah.
love doing it. I don't care. I'll do it all day
You
long.
you do love do it.
Oh,
It's not
yeah, I
boring
love it.
for you.
Yes, but when it's done correctly, it looks so rad. Like
Yeah.
I dig it.
See, I try to get unique tattoos, but it's very hard nowadays because, like I said,
Yeah.
Pinterest is taking over, Google's taking over. I'm sure you do a butterfly and a lion tattoo every day.
Here's the thing.
Um,
I had this conversation today. Me and my wife,
yeah,
we went out to the lake and we were driving back and we were talking about tattooing. We had this conversation today. A lot of the tattoos, what are you gonna do? You're gonna reinvent the wheel?
true. Yeah,
It's been
true.
done. Like, you know, I get some of it, but then some of it's like, man, I can only reinvent a butterfly 100 times. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
but you know what? Like, oh, here a great example. I love tattooing flowers. I love tattooing sunflowers. I love tattooing roses. All that stuff. I think they're rad to tattoo. There's only so many roses and sunflowers, and they're all like at the end of the day, they're still the same flower. Like, so yeah, you can change them up. You can do certain things to make them look different. You can shade them different, all that stuff, and 100%. But at the end of the day, like they're all still the same thing, and people they're popular tattoos.
yeah,
And why, if I love tattooing them, am I gonna look at the person and be like, "Don't get that," because three other people got a sunflower this week? No, get a
yeah,
sunflower.
yeah,
Like that's rad as
yeah,
fuck. Like let me do it. I want to do it. Like come on, let's go. Like
yeah,
so, it's like I don't know. Like it's hard, man. Yeah, you're not gonna reinvent the wheel 100 times. Like you're not gonna
yeah.
do it. Like and the the world of Google has made it where everything's at our fingertips.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, like I said, I try to put my own type of spin on it. Obviously, everything's been done for the most part.
Yeah.
Like, I love Japanese style tattoos.
Yep.
Everybody has one. I love like my back tattoo. I have me and my grandma with the staircase to heaven.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
been done a million times.
Yeah.
I got a Trojan warrior on my chest. That's been done. I try to. So what I do is I try to let the artist kind of take a little spin on it because not
Yeah.
only will I feel comfortable with that, but I know the artist will too, because then they have the creative ability to build what they want.
For
You know what I
sure.
mean? So,
And we get into that like as far as like I think a lot of people take that as like, oh, they just like the question that we get all the time. There's not anything you just want to do. Well, yeah, there's a lot of things I just want to tattoo, but what I think's cool, you're not gonna think's cool. So give me some direction and then
yeah,
let me take over. Like,
yeah.
say what? Yes, you can take your shirt off, baby. Come here. The 2.5-year-old arm out. So the the I think a lot of people miss that in like when they think of like giving us free reign. It's not that we want free reign. It's that we want like you say, okay, like I don't care, your chest one. Okay, this is what I want. Now, like I want something like this. Now, how do now you kind of take over. And then we
Yeah,
kind of take over and we do the design you want, but in the style that we think is going to be the best and look the best.
absolutely. Yeah, for sure. The thing with me is I want my tattoo artist to feel comfortable. So whenever I get in there, it's like, hey, I want this, but I want you to feel comfortable with it too. So kind of add something because anybody I go to, I trust.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
Kenneth, like
yeah,
you,
yeah.
I trust people with allegiance. I think they do a great job. but just stuff like that. I was like, okay, I want this, unless it's like a lettering, like I got my last name on my chest.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's lettering. Obviously, you can't do much about. But I'm like, hey, I
That's
want this, but just
but
send me
see
some
that's
ideas.
I got a dude. I listen. You say that, but like with the lettering, Kyle, one of the other dudes that works at the shop,
Hmm.
like that dude literally puts out some of the craziest lettering I've ever seen. And so it is. It's wild, man. He did he did a whole forum last week with just different crazy lettering, and it was like, man, it was. You see stuff done like it, whatever, but it was like refreshing to see lettering done crazy like that.
Yeah,
Because there is everything, as long as we know, hey, this is what I want to do, then and you let us kind of, and not every time, I get it. Some people want certain things, and I'm fine with that. Like, I'll tattoo whatever you want. But if they're like, hey, take take, kind of take the reins, and I want this where here, and then we go with it. It's like, not only that, man, it's gonna come out rad. That's the way you
yeah,
want to do it.
absolutely.
I'll leave it at that.
That's the main thing with tattoos is they're just dope. I love the fact that we
Yeah.
can use our bodies as a canvas and you
Oh
can
yeah.
just tell a story. And not only that, like whenever you're explaining the story to someone else after you get the tattoo, you can explain when it happened, how it happened, what
I,
happened during the time. It's just dope, man. It's dope. It's dope to even get a tattoo.
I tell people that all the time. I'm like, man, I got one leg. My whole right thigh is like, if you saw it, it's like the trashiest tattoos ever. Like literally terrible tattoos, all of them. And everybody's like, "What?" I'm like, "Dude, every tattoo on that leg, the person that tattoos doesn't tattoo.
That's dope. I like
Like,
that.
they
That's
don't tattoo.
yeah,
And just, but I can tell you where I was, who I was with, what crazy ass story was behind it. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I won't bring up names. I won't any of this, just for whatever. But I've been tattooed by professional wrestlers that never have tattooed that you've seen on TV. I've been
yeah,
tattooed by buddies that are in the car world. I've been tattooed by some of my kids. Yeah, like it's one of those things. It's like no matter every tattoo, I can literally be like, yeah. So okay, you want to know about this one? Sit
yeah,
down. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. And that's
So
the point, in my opinion. That's the point. A lot of people, when I first started getting tattoos, I got my ribs done. I got my back done. I was both 18. My
yep,
back took like, I want to say 5 hours, 2 sessions.
yep,
And people are like, why would you do that to your body? Why would you do? I was like, not only is it telling a story. So like my back, for instance, is about my grandma. She passed
yeah,
away when I was like 14. I knew from that point on I had to do something to, embrace her and show, be able to tell her stuff
yeah,
like that. And so with my back tattoo, I'm able to talk about her anytime I'm at a pool or I'm at a beach. People are like, oh, that's dope. Like, what is that about? Like, why'd you get that? So that's the reason I get tattoos. And then I
yeah,
have some funny tattoos, like the one I got. I got a
yeah,
Playboy bunny on my
yeah,
side.
yeah, yeah.
It's just funny. And
Yeah,
then I have Pamela Anderson's lips on my other side because I was a big Tommy
perfect.
Lee fan. Big Tommy Lee fan. So I was like, Tommy Lee has it, I have to have it. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So stuff like that, you can just tell a story, and it's
but
just
I mean,
dope in my opinion.
but that is part of it. People all the time ask me, so there's two very distinctive thought processes when tattooing, and you just nailed them both. There's either I have a very valid reason for getting a tattoo, and there's a whole group of people that are like, yeah, I have some tattoos that have really valid reasons, and then I have some tattoos that just make me fucking laugh.
Yes.
And I tell people all the time, I'm like, bro, y'all don't and the people that are like super serious about it, like they're like, oh, every tattoo I have has a certain meaning and it has to have a meaning and blah blah. Blah. That's great. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. Me personally, don't want to have some just funny tattoos that people are like, why do you have that? And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, wait, just listen,
Yeah,
because you're gonna
exactly.
love this story.
Exactly.
And that's part of it, man. I think, if I can't laugh about some of the crazy shit that I've been through in my life, yeah, what I mean, and every one of those tattoos, like it's just about like some of those crazy times. Like we've had some. Listen, man, I don't know what Kenneth told you. I didn't listen to it on purpose, but I can tell you, there's been some wild adventures all over the world with
Yeah,
me and him and another one of our other buddies. But from I'm talking about stuck in elevators in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and Cork City, Ireland, to I mean, you name it. We've been
yeah.
everywhere. So it's been
It's been a journey,
yeah,
eh?
man. Yeah,
No, he didn't say too many stories. I really wanted to get him on the first time just to talk about tattoos because I
man.
enjoy tattoos and I think tattoo artists are a different breed for sure.
Oh,
I think
100%.
you have to be a different breed to be tattoo artists. And the reason I'm having him and you on is to tell your story on why why you love tattoos and just talk about tattoos. Funny story. So I have my last name on my chest. My last name
Yep.
is Youngblood,
Yep.
and I got it in the same type of font that Conor McGregor got in. I remember meeting you that day whenever I got it in. And so I was at a pool, and this old lady came up to me. She said, "Are you in a gang?" Because my last name's Youngblood. And I looked at her dead in her face and said, "Yes, ma'am, I
Absolutely.
am. For sure. I'm in the
Listen,
gang."
I've had listen, we get it. I get it all the time still. I've had security follow me out of the mall. Like I'm with
The
my kid.
Augusta Mall?
Yeah, I'm with my kids, and they're like walking behind me. I'm like, bro, I didn't. I promise I didn't steal anything. Like, I don't know what you like. What are you doing? Like, and they're just wandering behind me. I'm like, what are you doing, man? Like, I don't like. I got my kids with me. Like,
Yeah.
what is going on? Like, it
That's
is what it
that's
is,
what's
man.
still wild to me about how there's such a stigma behind tattoos because obviously biker gangs, people in jail, they used to do the, tattoos or whatnot in jail. But nowadays it's just like it's just dope. Having art on your body is just sick to me. I
It
love it.
it's changing. Like, listen, there are people. Uh, I can tell you right now, there's a GSP officer, and I won't mention his name either, but there's a GSP officer that when I met him 16 years ago, no, it's been 18 years ago. It's been, I don't know how long I've known him. But when I met him, you could have asked that dude, would you ever get a tattoo? Nope, would never get one. He was raised that way. He was raised not to get tattooed. He was raised that the dudes that had tattoos like me were gonna put those were the dudes he was worked for the county. Those were the dudes that were gonna get locked up. Like, they were heavily tattooed, and that's just like the fringe of society, and that's what it was. And he was that way. He was raised that way by his parents. So, with that said, I've now tattooed him one, two, probably 5, 6 times. He's got a half sleeve. Like,
Yeah,
works for GSP. Like, and he'll tell you, he'll be the first one to admit that up until he met me, never in his life did he believe he would get tattooed. So it's changing. It's changing, and
I'm glad it is. Really, I am really glad it is because my dad, who at one point would never get a tattoo, has so many tattoos now. He
yeah,
has his back done. My mom
yeah,
too, who if you met her, you'd be like, "This is not the woman that would get a tattoo." Have tattoos now, so
yeah.
it's just I've seen a lot of different tattoos. I love all tattoos solely because, dude, if that's what you want, you know what I mean. And a lot of people complain, "What are you gonna do when you get old?" Motherfucker, I'm gonna be wrinkly old and I'm gonna have a fucking tattoo on my
Like,
chest. You know
do
what I
I
mean?
care at that point? At 80,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
I'm not worried about it. Like, my dad's 70, just turned 71. His hands are tattooed. He's got tattoos. He doesn't care. Like, he's like, dude, like, some of them you can tell what they are. Some of them you can't even tell what they are. He doesn't
Yeah,
care. He's
yeah.
like, man, I'm literally 71 years old. Like, I'm just living. Like,
Yeah. By that time, I'm not gonna give a damn. I
yeah,
may go get another one just for fun.
yeah. Like, and I think that's the point, man. Is like, you got one shot. Like, you got one chance. You got 100. On a good run, you get what, 100 years, 90 years. Like,
Average is 70, man. Average is 70.
let's just like why not have some fun while you're here? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Absolutely.
be a decent person, live a decent life, and have some fun doing it. And
Yeah.
it'll work out in the end.
It's a new renaissance. People used to put it on canvases and draw and paint, but now people put it on their bodies, and I fuck with it so much. I love tattoos.
Oh yeah.
Um, Another reason I got the tattoo the other day is because Jade, she's apprenticed with
Yep.
y'all.
Yep.
and I think she does. She used to draw all the time, and I think she does. She's going to be good one day.
Yep.
She does great work now. She's done two of my tattoos already, and I just being able to be like, okay, Jay did my tattoo. This person, it's just sick, bro. It's dope.
And the reality is like 10, 15 years down the road, when she's when she's still tattooing and doing crazy shit, you're gonna get a call and she's gonna be like, "Hey, so you remember those tattoos I did? You think we can?" And you have to say no. She cannot fix them. She cannot clean them up.
Yeah,
They just forever. She has to live with the fact that you have those tattoos.
yeah.
So
For sure. I already told her, I was like, hey, whenever you're no longer an apprentice and you're tattooing, I want you to just cause not because like I wanted tattoos because hey, we grew up together and I think it'd be
yeah,
dope if you did a tattoo on me, like a
and
big tattoo.
the reality is a lot of tattooing is that too. Is like some of my legitimate best friends in the world like are from tattooing. Like
Yeah.
are
Y'all a
but
different breed, brother. Y'all a different breed.
it's my best friends in the world. A lot of them are tattooers, but I have a lot of friends that are I am close with because I tattoo.
Yeah.
Because we've become close over me tattooing them. Like, I've been there, and I tell people this a lot. I've been with people through the darkest times of their lives. I've seen people at their worst moments,
Yeah.
when they've lost a parent or they've lost a child or they've lost and there's an emotional attachment to being there with somebody through that, like
Yeah.
whether you want it or not. Like, so, I struggle because it pulls at my heartstrings, to watch somebody go through that,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't want it any other way. Like,
Absolutely.
to me, that part of tattooing is it is more of a it bears more weight than any tattoo I've ever done. Like,
Yeah.
just to be there with that person, whether it be to watch them smile or break down crying.
Yeah.
Um, it's crazy powerful. Like, I can't explain it. Like, the
Yeah.
words don't do it justice.
Yeah. You're able to immortalize whoever they lost, and that's a dope feeling.
Yeah,
Cause I talked to Kenneth Steele today, and he was like, "Yeah, that's a dope tattoo because I was able to be there for you whenever you lost your grandma. And now
yeah,
you're able to immortalize her within your skin. You know what I mean?
yeah. And it's like it's crazy, man. Like, I think about it now. Like, it's wild to think about, like, being there and watching somebody go through it. Like, you're physically
Yeah,
watching them go through something that you don't wish on anybody. Like, I think the hardest ones for me are watching like a parent, that had a kid pass away or something of that nature.
yeah,
Like, with the younger ones that have a parent or a grandparent, it is as I don't want to sound cold, but in life that's what you expect. Like, you
yeah,
expect your grandparents to go before you expect your parents to go before you.
yeah,
But to watch a parent that is dealing with a child that went before them is it's rough, man. Like, it's
yeah,
rough, especially being a parent. Like, you put yourself in those shoes, like, and it's rough. it's
yeah,
it's hard. It's gonna be a hard day.
yeah. Whenever you get those calls, how do you even prepare for that? How is that?
You
Like, how
don't.
does that call? You don't? Yeah,
You don't. There's no preparing for it. Like, there's
yeah,
legitimately no way to prepare for it. um and it happens a lot. Like, I unfortunately, I do it a lot.
yeah,
Not unfortunately, because I literally would never want it to be any other way.
yeah,
Like, I I say I don't prepare, but it's probably the least prepared but proudest days are the days that something like that happens.
yeah. For sure.
Um, I don't know. It's the weirdest phenomenon that I could never explain the feeling that you get from it, and don't wish that on anyone as far as feeling the way those parents do, but man, it makes you appreciate everything.
Absolutely, especially with you having 6 kids,
Yeah,
a wife. Whenever you're given those tattoos, I'm sure it's probably bittersweet because you can
it is.
realize, hey, I know what I have and I'm appreciative of what I have, but at the same time, you feel for that person who's getting that tattoo.
It is. And there are dudes, and they know, a couple of them I can name off the top of my head that they know they could call me at any given moment, and I would drop whatever. And a lot, and one of them for sure, I can literally think of, and it's one in particular that I can think of. He knows that I would drop whatever I was doing to make sure that whatever he needed was taken care of. Only because I've watched him go through it. Like
Yeah,
I've watched that dude, and I don't wish what he went through on anybody.
yeah,
But the impact he's had, like without even knowing it, it's wild.
yeah, for sure, absolutely, and especially as men, as men, we're literally, what's the word, groomed to not feel anything, if that's a
Yeah,
good
for
word, I
sure.
guess.
For sure.
As men, we're like, you're not supposed to cry, you're not supposed to be
Yeah.
upset. If you have something, you're supposed to go through it yourself. So, dude, I'm applaud you on that because the fact that you have, a friend you would do that with, there's
Yeah.
not a lot of people out there, dog, and people like that, we need more people like that for
Well,
sure.
you know, I will tell you this. In tattooing, you learn very quickly that your word and your loyalty goes a long way.
Yeah,
Um, as far as like, there's very few, like, I don't know, per se rules with tattooing. But the main thing is that you're gonna get back from tattooing as a tattooer. You're gonna get back from tattooing exactly what you put into it.
yeah,
Um, but the other one is that loyalty and that like that bond goes a long way. And that happens with some clients. Like it does. Like and it's always you know the one dude that like the one dude in particular that I'm talking about that's probably had the most impact on me, he probably doesn't even know that he's had that impact on me. He knows that I would, as far as like if he needed something from me from the shop, whatever, he could call me. Um, but he probably has no idea exactly the impact he had on me. Um, but it's happened more than once, like, it's just the one that I think of is there was multiple factors involved, and that's why I can think of it.
yeah,
But it's happened a lot, and man, it's like I said, it's probably the best thing in the world. Like I love it. Like I love it and hate it all in the same sentence. Like,
yeah.
but wouldn't change it for the world.
I'm glad you enjoy it, bro. Honestly, because like I said at the beginning, like not a lot of people. Some people will go to 9 to 5 and they hate it. They go to jobs and they hate it. But I can
Yeah,
tell just talking to you. Whenever you're talking about tattoos, I can see like the glow in your
yeah,
face and in your eyes whenever you talk about it. So you actually enjoy it, and that's a dope thing to have, brother.
yeah, man. You gotta love it. Like you gotta love it.
Yeah,
You got to. You won't. It goes right back to that rule, like of as a tattooer getting back exactly what you put into it. Like you have to love this business because you're gonna give up everything for it.
yeah,
That's the reality. Like I can't tell you how many holidays I've missed, how many birthday parties I haven't gone to, how many man, my kids grow up in a tattoo shop. And
yeah,
that's the reality. Like they're there. Like thank God for my parents. Like my parents are a savior. Like they help us out a lot. But still, the kids, my parents bring the kids down there, right before we close, and so they're there every night. Like they see it. Like and then we go home. But like so, like there's a lot you give up to tattoo. if you don't love it, you won't be in it long.
Yeah.
Because as much you literally, if you're not willing to give up everything for it, you're not going to make it. And you have to, like, dude, like, God, I can't tell you how many hours and days I've missed and holidays and gone to the shop and you know had to run here, run there, do something with tattooing, and it is what it is. Like, I, I guess it would be harder if I didn't love it. Like, yeah, I wouldn't be able to do it if I didn't love it, but I love
Oh,
it, so
absolutely.
it's
For
pretty
sure.
easy.
Yeah, if you didn't love it, giving up that amount of time with your family, giving that just amount of time in general,
Yeah.
especially you probably realize now that
Oh yeah.
time is a thief. Time is
Yep.
a thief. I
The
look
older
back
you
at
get.
like my nieces, my nephews. I'm like, time. Why are y'all so old, bro?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm sure you look back and you're like, damn.
Yep.
But at the same time, you're like, well, I gave it up for something I love, something I'm passionate about, which I can
Yeah.
tell. I can tell
Yeah.
you're very passionate about it. And
So
no, that's dope, man. That really is dope.
I'm learning in my old age, trying to learn how to walk a better middle ground, but I'm not that good at it. So
Yeah, you're good at what you do, man. I've seen your work, man. You do a really good job at it. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I try to give the kids some more time and the wife some more time, but I don't know if that'll ever happen. I try to figure it out, but
Yeah, and have you found more time as you know? Do you feel like you trust more people to do the tattooing, or like you just love being there?
I trust the guys I have, but
Yeah,
I absolutely love being there. I
yeah.
I freak out when I'm not at work. I don't like not being there. I don't like not tattooing. I like getting away. I like vacations. You get me out of the shop for more than about a week, and I'll freak out.
I got you. I
So
got you. No, I understand it, man. Whenever you do something you love, I mean, that's your
yeah,
passion, right? I
yeah.
mean, that's what you do. I mean, what
So
you wouldn't have it any other way.
no, hell no.
Yeah. Shoot. So tell me this. What's one of the craziest tattoos you ever done?
Shit, man, I've done a bunch of wild tattoos. I don't know,
I
like
know. I can
so.
imagine being in it 16 years. I'm talking location. I'm talking the type of tattoo. I'm talking everything. What's the craziest
Here's
tattoo you've done?
so you're gonna hate this answer. So I get asked this all the time,
Yeah. I'm
and I
sure.
will
I'm sure.
every almost every tattoo they're gonna you're gonna get the same a couple of the same questions. One of them always being, "What's the craziest tattoo?" Same answer. Not ever, not one single tattoo has been the craziest tattoo.
Really?
Yep. Because the minute I look at you and say, the minute I think in my head, I'll be like, man, this is the weirdest, what, this is the craziest tattoo I've ever done. They're gonna walk back to my booth. We're gonna sit down. We're gonna start talking, and they're gonna have the like craziest story of why they're getting this tattoo, and I'm gonna sit there and go, well, I'm an idiot. Like, every single tattoo that any single person gets has some story behind it. And so for them, that tattoo is super meaningful. So none of them are really crazy because they had a reason for it.
I mean, I get it. I get it. But there's never been one where the location was like, are you serious right now? Like, this is what we're
No,
doing?
no, nobody's got no. I know where we're heading with it, and nobody's got the money to pay me to do it. I'll leave it at that.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Because Kenneth was telling me a story. He was talking about Keith. And he was like, yeah, this story, he was doing it
Yeah,
on his shaft.
I listen. I was there for it. It's a true story. It is a true story. I was there for it.
I just, me personally, just looking at it and looking at it from, I guess from the outside, I'm like, I could never, as a man, I could never do that.
110%. I was there for it. It happened. It was a shamrock or a four-leaf clover or something, but yep, 100% I was there for it. Yep.
And
Oh,
you don't look at that like, so let me ask you this then. How much would you charge for something like
no, I don't even know. I wouldn't even start talking about it.
that?
Hey, you remember when I told you I hate being the boss?
Yeah,
This the time I like being the boss.
I got you. Because I could just imagine someone would be like, "Yeah, I want a 4 leaf clover on my dick." I'm like, "That's what
Oh
you want?"
man, it was. Listen, it's only better if you knew the guy that got it done, and it made it. The story's that much better knowing.
So y'all
Oh,
knew the guy?
oh, 100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I know him.
What is that process even like? Like, how do you, when someone comes in with a weird, like, how, what do you even, mindset, what do you even say to the customer?
I mean, so okay. Here's the thing: if it's overtly racist, I'm going to tell you to fuck off.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not going to do it.
Yeah,
I'm not cool with that. I don't like. That's not the way I think. So you can go fuck yourself. Like that's the
yeah.
that. So that's out of the question. If it's something of that nature that we were just discussing, you have to treat it like any other tattoo.
No fucking way.
You have to like now listen, after the fact, it's gonna be a fucking shitstorm. Like the minute that shop closes, like Saturday night you were there kind of late, but like
Yeah.
once the shop closes, man, like we'll all sit around bullshit and stuff. And we'll all talk about the tattoos we did that day or whatever. But if that gets done, that's gonna be the topic of conversation. 100% guarantee.
Absolutely.
We're all gonna be like,
Absolutely.
"What in the fuck just happened today?" Like, but man, it's so few and far between that it
Yeah.
goes down like, and so it's like, but yeah, the story Kenneth told you is 100% the truth.
I'm gonna
I
get
was there.
Keith on just so we can tell the story
Oh
too. But
man,
that, when I
it
heard
was
that, I was like, Jesus Christ.
he was learning the tattoo when it happened.
That's
So
what Kenneth told me.
yep, yep,
That's wild, man. I could
yeah.
never imagine that.
It was yeah. Oof, good lord. Yeah,
Let me tell you
stretched over
this. So
stretched
this
over a bottle.
so my granddad told me this story. He said so he was going to get a tattoo and he wanted to get $100 bill tatted on him. And so he
Know
wanted to
where
get
it's
it
going.
he wanted
What?
to get it in a particular area.
Yeah, $1 bill turned into $100 bill.
He said he wanted $100 bill, and when the tattoo artist why asked why he wanted the $100
Oh,
bill tattooed where he wanted it, he said, "Because women know how to blow $100 so
$100.
quick."
Yep.
And I'm sure you get
Listen.
a lot of stories like that, the tattoo shop. But
Oh, for sure, man. Like, but yeah, man, it's I don't know. Like, you don't. It's. Let me think. I can tell you in 14 years. It'll be
yeah,
14 years in August. We've been asked about it 2 times,
twice.
twice, and neither person showed up. It's always like via message or via phone call,
Yeah,
and you have to handle it professionally, and you handle it professionally, and neither of the people have shown up. So, it is what it is.
I couldn't imagine, bro. I'm be honest with you, I couldn't imagine.
I mean, it is. It's wild, but hey, we knew what we were signing up for.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell
So,
me this: what's one of your favorite or you've been doing this for a long time, so obviously you may have a couple, but what's one of your favorite tattoos you've done?
oh, I probably can tell you almost one of my favorites. I got a couple, but one of the ones that sticks out was I did a circus tent. This was a while ago. A circus tent, and it was a buddy of mine. I knew him. He doesn't live in town anymore. Um, and at first he wanted watercolor, and I
Yeah,
said to him, "Look, man," I said, "Let me try something. Let me try something." He was like, "Okay." So I did it, and it was kind of where for me the whole like look at that glitter look started, and it changed a lot for me as far as tattooing went. Like I started tattooing a lot more in that style, and I still love tattooing in that style.
yeah,
And that was probably 10, 11 years ago that I did that tattoo, but it still stands out as one of my favorite tattoos.
yeah. So you got a circus tent. That's it.
Yeah, it was a circus tent, but like we did some glitter in it, and so like, and I posted the picture, and it blew up.
I see you have a lot of followers on Instagram too.
Yeah, I
Jesus,
got a few.
got a few. Let's not be humble, bro. You got almost 10,000.
Yeah, yeah, is what it is. I've literally traveled the world.
Yeah. And
So,
so one thing I'm interested in is I don't know if it's Indonesia or Thailand. They do the stick and poke.
Tabori.
Yeah.
Yep.
I want to get one of those tattoos one day.
Yeah, for sure. You 100% should do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, like it is the oldest form of tattooing.
Yeah.
And so for like as a tattooer, as a tattoo collector, it's almost a rite of passage getting one. Like,
Yeah.
listen, I'll go do it. I want to do it too. Like, never had it done, would love to do it, and it'll happen at some point. And when it does, it does. But I mean, yeah, I think it's rad.
I think it's dope. I really want to get it. Do you know anybody anywhere that does it
I
besides
would have
overseas?
no, I'd have to look. There's a couple of guys, the West Coast guys that do it.
Yeah.
Um, uh, and what you probably need to do is look at some of the conventions, the bigger
Yeah.
conventions, like babe, what's the name of those conventions? Villain art shows.
Yeah.
They do them in a lot of major cities, and sometimes they'll have some of those guys there.
I really want to do that. Honestly,
Yeah,
I really do.
look into some of the conventions, like the big. I'm talking about the big conventions, like Villain Arts. It just happens to be the biggest. There's a couple other conventions. If I see any that I know will have somebody there, I'll let you know.
Yeah. Please send them my way.
Yeah, for sure.
And I do have another. So, what is your on your body? What is your favorite tattoo of yourself on
Oh,
yourself?
Jesus.
Come on, man. Come on. You're a tattooed guy. You have to have a favorite. Cause I have a favorite.
So, man. Oh, my favorite.
You can give a
Um,
couple if you need to, but I feel
I
like everybody has a favorite.
so I don't tattoo realism
Yeah.
at all. So probably some of my favorites are like I have my oldest son, my dad, and then my middle son all tattooed on my stomach, and then my wife tattooed my last name across my upper stomach.
Yeah.
So it's like it's all the you know well, with the exception of the 2.5-year-old, it's all the boys.
Yeah.
So Kenneth did the two portraits. A dude that tattoos here in town named John did the other one. It's not a portrait, but it's like a almost like a caricature of one of them. And then obviously my wife did the my lettering across my stomach.
Yeah.
So and those are I like those. They're just they're my family.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Um, I don't know like I got a bunch, man. Like
I know
I
you
got
have a
like
lot.
I got like dumb little tattoos that have like stupid amounts of meaning to me.
Yeah.
Like
No, I understand.
so like I got tattoos that seem super insignificant that people would be like, "Oh, that doesn't mean anything," and it's like, but they have a lot of meaning. Like me and my wife, like almost every time we travel, we'll just end up when we get back, we'll like do little tattoos on each other just to remember where we went.
Yeah.
So like, or something about the trip or whatever, like that we found funny or something. So it's like, I look at it and I'm like, oh, that's when we did this, or that's when we did that, or like,
Yeah.
so all those have like meaning to me, like, and I literally would go insane without them. It's only on our anniversary. She's yelling at me. It's only on our anniversary. Just to be clear, those are only anniversary
I'm
ones.
excited to have her on too. Just hear the other side for sure.
Yeah. Listen, man, I joke and say she's the prodigy child. She literally tattoos crazy for she's it where she's at, she shouldn't be. Nobody should
Really.
be.
She's
Yeah.
that good.
Yeah, she's phenomenal.
I'm excited to have her on,
Yeah.
honestly.
It's a whole different take. The female side of this business is a whole different take because for a long time the females weren't accepted into tattooing. Like
Hmm.
there were, but it just wasn't. It wasn't as accepted as it is today.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so she's gotten to experience some crazy stuff because she's been around one of the ladies that like has tattooed forever, has been a tattooer forever, and in the older family, in Augusta, and so she's got to kind of experience that. So
Yeah,
and talk to her and have conversations with her, and she can say she doesn't, but the lady I'm speaking about is Eddie Tex Peace's daughter-in-law, Jenny Peace, and she still comes by the shop and listen. Like I call her mom because I treat her like a parent,
yeah.
and she doesn't even. She'll walk straight into my wife's booth and sit there and talk to her, and I'm like, "You ain't gonna say hey?"
You
She's
chopped
like,
liver,
"Nah."
bro.
She's like, "I don't," she's like, "I don't even care about you anymore." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, cool, I get it." Like, but yeah, I mean, it's wild, man, because like, you know, there wasn't as many females at all, 20 years ago, 30 years ago,
Yeah,
and now seeing females in the business is and especially like where she's at, and like some, it's wild. Like I'm like, it's good, but it's a whole different perspective of the business.
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So it's fun. Some
You
days
say
we
it's fun. I know you love it, bro. I can
Oh
tell.
yeah.
I can tell you love it.
Listen listen I told you, I said it from the get-go, I'll say it 100 times. I absolutely love tattooing. Hate being a boss. Terrible at being a boss. Love tattooing.
Well, y'all are doing great out there, man. I always, whenever someone in Augusta asks where they should get a tattoo, I always say Allegiance Inc.
We
because I
appreciate
trust
it,
the
man.
people there. Um, I will always get my tattoos there whenever I'm
I
in
appreciate it.
Augusta. I know Kenneth is coming in August, correct?
Kenneth shows up whenever he wants to.
He told me August, so I'm gonna come up there. I may get a tattoo. I may just hang out.
Yeah.
Y'all give a vibe where everybody's welcome, which
Yeah,
is
for sure.
awesome. Some tattoo places you walk into, and you're like, you don't feel so comfortable, but
Uh,
y'all
that's
walk
not
in and it's lovely, man. I love it.
that's not everywhere I want to be. I want to be
Yeah,
somewhere where, nah, Kenneth knows he shows up when he wants to. He can come
that's
when he
right.
wants to. He knows that.
That's right.
So,
I love that boy too. And listen, I'm hoping to get a tattoo from you soon.
yeah,
I
man.
love your watercolor, so I'm
I
hoping to
appreciate
get
it.
a watercolor one day because I haven't. I think besides the lips of Pamela Anderson, I don't have any color.
Yeah,
So
for
we'll
sure.
have to set something up to
Yeah,
get
just let
that
me know.
taken care of. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
and I'm excited to have your wife on next week,
Yeah, man.
Monday. It's gonna
Yep.
be dope. How I always in my podcast is I want you to give some positive vibes, positive advice to the people out there listening.
Oh man. The positive advice, I think, is just what we talked about earlier. It's just like, I mean, just you got 80, 90 years at this. Do good, like try to give back to the community when you can, and just enjoy it, man. Like
Yeah,
you got one shot. Enjoy it. Like do what you can for like the people around you, and the community you're involved in, and besides for that, just enjoy it, man. Like
absolutely.
enjoy it.
For sure, man. It's been a pleasure. I hope to
Thank you,
see you
man.
soon. I
Yeah,
do
for
want to
sure.
get that. I'm gonna hit you up. I don't know when the next time I'll be in Augusta is, but I would love to get a watercolor done
Yeah,
by
yeah,
you, just so I can say I got a
yeah,
tattoo
for
by
sure.
Phillip. And I'm looking forward to the podcast with your wife next week.
For sure.
Absolutely. Listen, I
Thanks,
appreciate the
man.
time you spent with me today. This has been an hour and 15 minutes, Phillip. I appreciate you spending time. Always an honor, brother.
Thank you, man.
All right, brother. This podcast is sponsored by W Energy. Whether you just need some energy for the day or if you need to get through the gym, W Energy, use promo code TheJYE, the J Gumblett Experience to get 10% off the entire site.